It's so wonderful to greet our fellowship family around the world. You are such a blessing and a strength to me. We're living in some very interesting times right now, and I know you're all feeling the effects of it. You know, the enemy is trying to take away our freedom and our spiritual values, especially here in America. We've sensed a real challenge to try to take God out of our lives, which is so sad, and it's so different from what we've ever experienced. But we know God is still God, and we're going to get through this victorious. And He has a mighty army out there just working in our behalf. And I thank God for that, and I thank God for you. And it reminds me of the time when we went to Armenia. Richard and I went to Armenia, and it was in 1990 when Perestroika was going on at that time. And Armenia wanted to be on their own and be their own nation. And so they were really struggling. It was a difficult time. It was hard for them to get food. They would have the water only so long during the day, and they'd shut it off. So it was a very difficult time for the people. And they knew, in Armenia, they knew of Demos Shakarian, and they knew that he had founded a Christian business organizations worldwide. So they were anxious to get business people coming to Armenia to help them. So they came to Los Angeles, and they asked if we would go over there. And so Richard said, well, yes, we'll come if you'll let us have meetings when we're there. So we went. And I can remember it was such a sensitive time. And when we arrived, we brought a small group with us. And when we arrived in Armenia, the officials from the government gave us a schedule. And they had given us every arena in all the cities in Armenia, the biggest arena that they had. And they gave it to us free. Quite amazing. And so we were very busy the whole time. And we had amazing meetings. The hunger was so great. One of the meetings, we even had Russian soldiers at the altar in uniform with their guns by their side. And the last night, or afternoon actually, up on the hill in the big arena, we had a meeting up there, and 16,000 people were crowded into that auditorium. And the manager came to me on the stage, and he said, we had to lock the doors because the people were pounding on the doors. They thought we were lying to them. They thought the government was lying to them. So they said, we put loudspeakers outside, and there's 4,000 people sitting on the grass outside. And they heard every word we said. Later we heard from some of those people. And there was such a hunger for God. Richard gave the government $10,000 ahead of time to print 20,000 Gospel of Johns for us. So we gave out those Gospel of Johns, but while the meeting was going on, beside the stage, we had people begging for more Gospel of Johns. That's how hungry those people were. And when you starve a people, the hunger is so great for reality. And so after that meeting, we were so elated for what God had done. And you know, we were seeing some of these things going on nowadays in our country. And when things are taken from us, and you realize that your foundations could crumble. And so many have realized that their foundations could crumble. But you know, it's amazing. Through all of this, God is going to be victorious. Nobody can take God out of our lives, but the hunger is so great. The officials came to Richard after our meetings and said, "How did you do it?" Every auditorium and arena was packed. And Richard said, "You starve the people for 70 years and take God out of their lives, and they're so hungry." And it was all word of mouth that they came to these meetings. It was amazing. We were amazed what had happened. And that's happening, we see today. Some of those same things, and we begin to realize how precious that our faith is, our Christian values, and how important God is in our lives. And I thank God for you. How many people, you are God's army in the nations of the world. And God is going to use you in a greater way than ever before. And how many lives, thousands and thousands of lives, have already been changed in the fellowship. And God is going to use you, that mighty army, to bring in that last day harvest. I thank God for each one of you. And I love you, and I pray that God blesses you and prospers you in a greater way than ever before. This mighty army will go forward. I thank God. God has put you in place for such a time as this. God bless you abundantly.